On Diamond 88.7 FM, radio is real. At Diamond FM, we've got you.
In the finest city of Ilori lies a secret.
Diamonds 88.7 FM.
Radio like no other.
88.7 FM. Diamond.
Tune in and discover these flavors. Simply relax, close your eyes, and enjoy the sounds. Get it into your system. Diamond 88.7 FM. Radio like no other.
This is our promise. We made up our minds to do something new, something different, do more, do the impossible, do better, do big, do good, do it again and again and again. Do what no one else has done with radio. This is our promise at Diamond FM. Diamond 88.7 FM, shining supreme.
For the best of national, local, international news and sport. Tune in to News Punch and Diamond 88.7 FM. News Punch, all about the news.
The time is 9 o'clock. Good morning and thank you for staying with us on Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilori. This is News Punch. It's a news and current affairs compilation of topical story headlines making the rounds. I'm your host, Babatunde Okunlola. You're welcome. And here are the headlines trending in the news today. Kill corruption, not Nigerians, Tunde Bakari tells Tinubu. Pastor Bakari not competent to criticize Tinubu's reform, says APC scribe. NJC dismisses fake letter claiming to surrender powers to governors. Niger junta signals readiness for diplomacy, decries ECOWAS ultimatums. Akeredolu still in Germany, not yet back, says aide. Military pledges loyalty to Tinubu, backs democracy. Kanu suspends fee hike by private schools. Kebbi governor condoles with Governor Sani Zauzau Emir over mosque collapse. On coup, NLC warns against ECOWAS invasion of Niger. NAF says airstrikes hit oil thieves, terrorists, others. Elsewhere, Governor Oti bans Okada in Umuahia, Aba. NDLEA busts 3 syndicates in Lagos to arrest drug barons for kingpins. Bayero University introduces 15,000 naira monthly job scheme for students. Ogun Highway robber names police inspector as gun supplier. And onto the foreign scene, Niger coup, President Mohamed Bazoum in good spirits despite detention. West Africa defense meeting on Niger postponed. Still on the foreign scene, Ukraine war, 3-week-old baby and family among 7 killed in Russian shelling. And elsewhere, migrant boat sinks in Channel, killing 6 people off French coast. In the world of sports, Mancini in shock resignation as Italy coach. And lastly, in sports, world athletics, we've not cleared Toby Amusan of doping. And those are the major headlines making the rounds today. It was compiled and edited by Abiodun Akinwumi. My name is Babatunde Okunlola. For sponsorship or advert placement, kindly contact our sales and marketing office on 0803 7115 534. You can also call this other marketing number 0812 4981 542. Up next is the Diamond Breakfast Show, where we discuss and have an in-depth analysis, conversation on some of the topical headlines just shared this morning. Don't forget you can follow us by logging on to any of Diamond FM's online platforms on www.diamondfm.net. Keep up to date via our social media pages at Diamond 887 FM. We go on a short timeout. When we return, we proceed with the program. This is the Diamond Breakfast Show coming up next. Stay tuned.
This is our promise. We made up our minds to do something new, something different, do more, do the impossible, do better, do big, do good, do it again and again and again. Do what no one else has done with radio. This is our promise at Diamond FM. Diamond 88.7 FM, shining supreme.
The major talking points in Nigeria are always on the lips of the citizens.
What's going on in this country? Look at smaller countries taking lead, and you call yourself giant of Africa. Yeah.
Nigeria don't spoil my business too much. Nigeria is too hard for us. I mean, I want to kill us. Father, no kill us for Nigeria. Oh, please, help us beg them.
They should reduce their expenditure so that they can free enough money for social development.
I wish for a Nigeria where we elect a leader based on competency and not popularity.
On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we place the spotlight on the critical issues in the country.
Government that says they are broke can prioritize construction of an additional runway over education of the people.
How can a government, how can you hurt Indomine? This is intolerable. It's provocative.
Now, you see, when you look at our democratic journey, we are yet to practice genuine democratic system in Nigeria.
Join us on Mondays to Friday on the DBS from 9 to 10 a.m. The Diamond Breakfast Show, amplifying the voice of the people.
From the studios of Diamond 88.7 FM in Lorry, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show.
Now 7 minutes come past the hour 9 a.m. You're tuned in, locked in, and listening to the broadcast service of Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria, from our International Media Center, where we're broadcasting live to you from. Thank you for joining us this Monday morning. My name is Babatunde Okunlola. Friends call me FTO. Thank you for joining us. Well, the Diamond Breakfast Show is where we discuss some of the biggest stories, trending stories that affect you and I as Nigerians. We just don't not only talk about it, sometimes we bring you words directly from the source's mouth. And we have our in-house guest who I'll be introducing shortly, who join us every day of the week, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Friday. Today's no exception. But don't forget, you can be a part of the program as well. And here's how. You can watch us live, have a front row seat in on the ongoing conversation via our social media pages. Facebook is at Diamond 887 FM. Twitter's at Diamond887FM, and Instagram's at Diamond887FM. You can contribute and drop your comments beneath the post, the live stream as well. You can also call this number in a bit. That is 0913 6556 952. Again, that is 0913 6556 952. You can send us your messages via WhatsApp through this number, and that is on 0913 6556 864. Again, that is 0913 6556 864. Well, let's get started with the show. Introducing to some, making unto some others. Our guest this morning is none other than Mr. Sukomi Toby John, is a public affairs analyst concerned Nigerian, among several titles that he wears. It's good to have you join me this morning.
It's always a pleasure to be here talking about Nigeria.
Well, so much to talk about. Let's get straight to it. And this one, of course, revolves around the conversation that broke over the weekend. And, well, it's about the Central Bank of Nigeria. An audit of the past couple of years has brought some major information to the front line, and that is what we're discussing today. What we now know from the published 2022 CBN annual report is that the Central Bank of Nigeria, under the Governor Emefiele leadership, following requests from the administration of President Buhari, printed an amount of 23.7 trillion naira, or if you do the dollar conversion, that's $53 billion. This is in excess of the total foreign reserves of Nigeria. There's so much to be said about it. A particular analyst was on the show this morning. That's Mr. Paul Alaje, an economist and financial analyst, was on the Arise television platform. Let's have a quick listen to something that he said while on that platform about some major implications, and then we'll move this to the studio.
Horrible economic policy like we had in the last 8 years. So, and you can see the effect, the continuation of that effect even on the country. So here is it. I think the Central Bank of Nigeria have gone rather too far by pushing as much as 40% of the foreign reserve. And let me also say this borrowing is not free. It comes at a cost. And what are we going to use to pay back? The same hard currency, US dollars if you like. When you convert, it's still the same US dollars. What it means is that instead of using lower amount of naira to pay back for every dollar, we now need even more money, which means government needs to look for more, either in taxation or part of the revenue realized from crude or money realized from custom duties will be used to service monies that have been borrowed, simply because we want the atmosphere to appear that all is well. Meanwhile, in the real sense, all is nowhere. That is why audit is important, and we recommend it should be done not later than on an annual basis, unlike what we have not seen in the last 8 years. The challenge ahead may.
Well, there you have it. In the studio again with me is Mr. Sukomi Toby John. Well, we've heard it from an economist who broke it down in layman. Monies were borrowed that ought not to have been borrowed. Not that much, at least. And there's a lot of financial, take right there. Certain things stand out for the man out there on the street. Number one is, this audit. Is it like, it appears some of this information might have been deliberately kept from the public. Now we have this particular information out there. Many are saying we're in deep yogurt. You know what that means.
We are not just in deep yogurt alone. We're in a very deep soup. We have to evaluate how let's say more like the CBN came about concealing this information for good 7 years. You understand? Because we learned since 2016 or the last time an audited report was published was in 2015. So I believe it was because the CBN itself knew it was actually working in contrary to the dictates of the law. Yes, the law permits that whatever borrowing or overdraft the government of the day is entitled to shouldn't be more than 5% of what's of government revenue the preceding year. But what we have is almost like I think the 23 trillion naira. So relatively, you get me right. Relatively, the government, if you look at the what's it called, the revenue generated, year on year, you realize that the government actually borrowed about 22, in the excess of 22.9 trillion.
Way above.
Way above it. And that actually skyrocketed for what's it called? Total debt stock to about approximately $70 billion. We're in a very deep mess. And we are talking about a situation whereby the country itself, our capacity to earn forex is limited. Let's look at even our foreign reserve itself. Our foreign reserve as of March this year, I think it was pegged at $33 billion, if I'm not mistaken. So now if you have to look at the total amount, I'm talking about, the overdraft, you understand what I'm saying, which the government went to JP Morgan and what's it called?
So that we could print more cash.
JP Morgan. And Goldman Sachs. You understand what I'm saying? The reason why the government went there is to, get enough dollar to mop up this naira, because at the point excessive pressure was, placed on the currency, on the naira. You understand what I'm saying? At the point, as a result of too much naira in circulation, you get what I'm saying? And that was because the government pumped 23 trillion naira into the economy. You get me, right? So without having a commensurate, revenue generation, capacity at the same time. So it created, a serious situation for our country. As we speak, as we stand today, if we are to offset our bill, if we are to pay our loan, I doubt if we're going to be, if our entire forex reserve will be up to $16 billion. So that tells you the magnitude of the problem. And, coupled with that, I think the total amount borrowed from what's it called? From the banks. I'm talking about from JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. Yes. I think it's just 7.5 billion. We still have forward liabilities. You understand what I'm saying? Which we have to pay. We're talking about foreign investors, which is about another $6.5 billion. If you have to put that together, we're talking about something in the excess of $13 billion. So please, let's do the maths.
Well, doing the maths is very, very scary. I don't want to do the maths. That's why we always turn to the economists. We ought to be in touch with an economist right now. But our analyst has done a great job, coupled with a clip borrowed from the Arise television platform, explaining it in layman terms. One other thing that stands out, because, we're throwing up these numbers. And people want to know. There's one other story, the Mr. Bakari's story, which we'll be taking a look at, and his recent comments on putting the cart before the horse. That's talking about the subsidy removal. But I want to ask you this. There are people behind this atrocity, some would say. Now, the legality or illegality of this is still in question, as in, did they do anything illegal? We've seen CBN governor, being prosecuted because people said he led that particular organization. And we've seen a lot. But it shocks a lot of Nigerians that these are not the allegations that he's been prosecuted for. He's been prosecuted for illegal
possession
ammunition,
of
firearms.
Just a shotgun.
Yes, of all of this. Totally abstract, some would say. Who's going to answer for this? Are we going to see that these bills that Nigerians are already paying for? Are we going to see some prosecution of some sort? Are we going to go after the corruption? Who gave the order on this?
Well, definitely.
Do you think we'll see that happen?
Definitely, it's we roll, or should I say, it's expected to roll.
Well, mind you,
the majority of Nigerians are looking for will never roll. You understand what I'm saying? Because even if the government is going to go extra mile,
could the CBN governor put this up without authorization? From
that is it. You see, you get me. He has the discretion. You understand? The discretionary power to pull out. You understand what I'm saying? To tender his resignation as a result of that. The moment the president, approach him, you understand what I'm saying, to go further with the illegality in quotes. Because why? This is something that ought to have gone through a procedure, but he failed to go through that procedure, so we can term it as illegal. You understand what I'm saying? So he reserved the discretionary rights to determine what exactly he wanted at the time. If he had, weighed up the magnitude of the import of what he's about to do, he would have thought about it that, okay, a day of this nature will come.
Well, and he's an expert. He's an expert.
You see,
should have seen that coming.
The thing is, yes, we can call him an expert, but at some point he became a politician. You understand what I'm saying? He did not just only violated, the terms and the spirit establishing the structure within, which he preside over. He did not only do that. He also made an attempt to micromanage the economy. There were responsibilities he ought to have delegated to commercial banks. You understand what I'm saying? Talking about the Anchor Borrowers Program. This is, something that ought to have been domiciled with commercial banks. to have afforded the government, the opportunity to spread the liability, the CBN to spread the liability. But no, the CBN operated that particular initiative, that policy of the government itself, taking on the responsibility of commercial banks. And if you look at it critically, those who bought the form for the CBN governor, I'm talking about the suspended CBN governor, those who bought the form for him, I'm talking about the presidential nomination for the APC. Those who bought it for him were alleged to have been members of the the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN. So that means what we are dealing with. Perhaps we are dealing with something of a collusion of some sort. You see, we would have extricated the CBN governor for not doing anything wrong. You understand what I'm saying? We would have extricated it because we know policy go bad, it goes on. But the procedure, he failed the test of the lay down procedure. You understand what I'm saying? He failed that test. And what we still want the DSS to look into, which I believe they are looking into, you understand what I'm saying, is those who benefited from that, because it's as though there's a certain I won't use the word cabal. It's a certain clique of some sort. I wouldn't. The moment you mention cabal, there's a way we take
think about oil.
Yeah, exactly. Clique. You understand what I'm saying? There are some certain people who benefited it, and these people must be brought to book.
Well, Zakome, let's go on a quick timeout right now. We have bills to pay. In case you're just tuning into the Diamond Breakfast Show, you can hear the tone, you can hear the emotion. That's because the summary of it is based on Nigeria's federal government revenues of 5.5 trillion naira at the end of 2021, the CBN should not have lent more than 252 billion naira to the government in 2022. Yet, by the end of 2022, it had advanced a total of 23.2 trillion naira to the federal government. I don't think you need to understand the economics to know what exactly that means. Let's go pay bills. When we return, we'll be opening up the phone lines to get your reactions. This is the Diamond Breakfast Show. We'll be back.
Are you looking to introduce your business to the world or maintain an existing brand image? Well, let's help you. Advertise with us at Diamond 887 FM in Lorry. We provide a wide range of services to help showcase your business. For inquiries and advert bookings, visit our marketing office at Plot 2, New Yidi Road, Irewolede, Ilorin, or call 091 2929 4332 or 081 2828 6078. Diamond 887 FM, your shining supreme station.
And welcome back from the quick break. This is Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria, where you're listening to the program The Diamond Breakfast Show with me, Babatunde Okunlola. Friends, call me FTO. Thank you for joining us this morning. Of course, we're discussing the recent situation with the CBN, monies given out, lent that shouldn't happen, lent in excess. There's a review that's been in for the past 7 years, and it's a whole can of worms, and we're discussing that with present realities. In the studio with me, I have Mr. Sukomi Toby John, a public affairs analyst. It's good to have you join me once again.
It's a pleasure.
Well, here's how you can be a part of the show. You can send us your WhatsApp messages on 0913 6556 864. Again, that is 0913 6556 864. That's the WhatsApp number. You can call now 0913 6556 952. Your name, your location, please go straight to the point. Hello, good morning. Good morning, you're live. Good morning. What is your name, please?
Ibrahim from Gatton.
Ibrahim, good to have you. Please go on quickly.
I would like to comment on the issue of suspended CBN government.
Please go on.
You see, what I observe in that issue is that we have a systematic somersault in this country. Our system, our institutions are not working. Supposedly, if it is working, by the time that the suspended CBN government declared that he wants to run for the president.
Call line. You can send us a message via WhatsApp using this number 0913 6556 864. Again, that is 0913 6556 864. That's the WhatsApp number via which you can reach us. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Rescue.
Hello, good morning. You're live.
This is Mr. Davis from Shaw.
Mr. Davis, it's good to have you. Please go on quickly, sir.
Yes, that is what we have been saying for long. We need principled people to occupy our system for us. Because if a politician is telling somebody to do what is wrong, I think that person is supposed to know that the best thing to do is the right thing, no matter the circumstance. I know the CBN governor did not do all these things on his own volition. Somebody must have sold that idea to him, then sending that idea to the president, who as at that time I can refer to as a clueless president, because who knew nothing about economy. The CBN governor is in a better position to let the president know this is what we're supposed to do. But when we are having people who are not principled, we are going to get wrong. But I pray for this country that by the grace of God, it shall be well in Jesus' name.
Amen. Well, thank you very much for your take right there. Well, we do need the prayers right now and not the type that's sent into mailboxes. We do need the literal, practical prayers. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Dr. Zil, Panacea School. Dr. Zil from Panacea School.
Dr. Zil, it's good to have you. Please go on quickly.
Yeah. Nigeria is not just in soup. Nigeria is in pepper soup. And I will tell you why I said so. Not just pepper soup, hot pepper soup, because it's always been deceiving ourselves with the right, with putting the right people in the right places, and we tell us it's well and be praying some prayers that can never be answered by God. We just have to understand that we have to do the right thing and put the right people in the right place. People who knows about economics, the economics to be not that you put a tailor as a teacher, and you expect that tailor to perform like a teacher. Who does that? No matter the number of training you give to somebody who's not a journalist to be there, there's no way. So the same thing goes to everything. The people we put in here in our various groups, they are not supposed to be there in the first place because they are mastered. And with what they do, we allow them to do. That's what is going on with all these CBN problems. Because if you look at it, as we see, they are just recycling people who become our CBN governors and candidates. At the end of the day, the only thing they politicize. I don't suppose to be so. Like I just said yesterday on Channel TV, what is going on is a serious peril because we need to know that there's not of things now need to be taken away from here. Like the policy that they used to do, we can take that away. Another parameter. Let them say this is meeting and preaching the focus and not giving them everything. I got somebody with a living part on the other. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that take right there. I think we can just take one more and then we'll have to move on, with this conversation. In case you're just joining us, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show. And we're discussing the mess. It's a mess. It's actually a mess. With the CBN new revelations coming out under the leadership of Emefiele. The question the man out there is asking on the street is, well, why haven't we had these charges brought? We did know that these things were alleged under his leadership. But now that he's been taken to court and he's been charged with unlawful possession of arms, a far cry from the original things people feel he should be charged with. Well, we don't know what the situation is going to be at the end of the day or by tomorrow. But this is what people are saying, like, oh, are we? Because if he's going to be charged, other heads are being set to roll. Let's pick up this one and I get back to my guest in the studio. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. What is your name, please?
I'm Daniel, calling from Ilorin.
Daniel, good to have you. Please go on.
We like speaking big English.
What big English
big grammar
is that?
in this country.
Please go on.
Okay, now, you say right people in the right position, is that not?
Yes, well, that's the
why
conversation.
Why don't we try to elect the right president, the right leader, the correct leader, the person who knows the well-to-do, so that he will make our institutions right. The head is the problem. Okay, Sebi, now, they took Emefiele to court. they charge him for gun. What do we call it?
Unlawful gun possession.
Can you imagine? And we are here speaking English. That means the government of APC did not see anything wrong in the policies. Look, can't you see it that way? Is it not the same government of APC? Muhammad Buhari led there. President Tinubu is there. The same APC. So there is nothing wrong with the policy of Emefiele. Why are you beating around the bush? The only thing they charge him for is for, what do you call it, illegal possession of arms.
Well, for now.
Oh, you see now? So you are doing investigation after you have arrested the man. You see the country? This is Nigeria. Oh, God.
All right, thank you very much. It's a very emotional morning for a lot of persons.
I think we should try and understand something, that the issue of the shotgun arrest might actually be a ploy to hold them in place. You understand
there's some people who thought about that.
The recent revelation was as a result of the what's it called? This man that was involved, Jim Obaze, that is the independent investigator that was employed. So it was the one who brought about all of the fact that we're having today. I believe it must have been the one who pressured the presidency to mount pressure on the CBN to release the audited what's it called.
Here's the conversation that's going on behind the scene, and again we have to leave this topic and move on. We have a lot of really, really cool topics this morning. Here's the conversation that's going on, like you rightfully said. Some say, no, that's just a way to hold him, and then they will unleash it. By the time the court wants to leave him, they're like, no, we have other charges. We're going to file this against him just to keep him forever. Dasuki still, Dasuki Gate rings a bell for a lot of us. There are those who say, however, no, that's not it. The truth is, and some say that's their truth anyways. They say, well, we know that he was not in this alone, and certain heads will roll. That's exactly the same reason why we can't seem to get the oil cabal, because then one way or the other, there's a thread that connects somebody somewhere that, it's a big mess out there. Well, we'll keep the comments coming, and phone lines have gone crazy. We want to get your thoughts on this. This is the Diamond Breakfast Show. You can keep those comments coming on a Facebook platform, that is Diamond 887 FM, where we're streaming live. You can have a front row seat and watch our guests, your facial expressions and everything. You can follow, like, click, share as well. We're going to time out. When we return, we'll move on to Syrup. Syrup again has taken, is taken for a judgment over a case, it's a case against the Senate, asking them for certain things. We'll be back in a bit. When we return, we'll proceed with the conversation. This is the Diamond Breakfast Show. Do stay tuned.
kókó lára ọ̀tá le. gbéra ńlẹ̀ kó dìde. kára ó lè pè ń ban. àtọ̀ra wọ̀ àtọ̀ra pẹ̀sẹ̀ àtọ̀ra dáadáa. kegun tó kegun náà. kára ó yá gágá. ara ń ronú tẹ́lẹ̀ kò ronú mọ́. tẹ̀bá ti fi kára ó lè pè ń ban ra. lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọnú igun. tó sì ń ṣe àtúntò rẹ̀. òṣùbù yẹ̀kẹ́ fa párọ̀ tàbí fi ẹsẹ̀ dá. fi kára ó lè pè ń ban bọ̀. káì ara rẹ̀ ó lè padà yakinlala. action ó jẹ́ ara ríro tàbí ẹ̀yìn dídùn. kára ó lè pè ń ban lọ́kọ̀ gbogbo wọn. agbára pọ̀. kára ó lè pè ń ban. tuyi pharmaceutical industries limited. àwọn tó lórúkọ tó ṣe é gbẹ́kẹ̀lé níbi ká po oògùn òyìnbó ló ṣe é. kára ó lè pè ń ban. ẹ̀rọ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pín ìrèpàtú òpèrè ta pàtà pọ́npọ́n. kára ó lè pè ń ban. ó kì í síbẹ̀.
kára ó lè pè ń ban rẹ̀ àtúrà dáadáa.
Seasons come and go. In this season, safety is important and caution is vital. Do you know that over 600 persons have lost their lives to flooding in Nigeria and over 2.5 million persons have been affected by flooding? Do you know that over 200,000 houses have been partially or fully damaged due to floodings in Nigeria? Flooding can be caused by humans or as a result of natural disaster. This is therefore a public service notification of the flood warning. To ensure safety of lives and properties in Kwara State, the general public is advised to desist from building along river channels or flood-prone zones. Say no to boat overloading. While on boat, put on your life jackets. Be safety conscious. Your life is precious. This message is from the Kwara State Emergency Management Agency.
The pharmacy Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria PSN Kwara State Branch presents our annual Pharmacy Week 2023. Theme: implementing the 2022 Pharmacy Act for good pharmacy practice. Featuring medical outreach at Fufu, health work against drug abuse, scientific lectures, drug exhibitions, and commissioning of projects. Holding between the 14th and 18th of August 2023. Distinguished guest of honor, Grand Patron, His Excellency Malam Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, Executive Governor of Kwara State. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. Kayode Alabi, the Deputy Governor of Kwara State. Chairman of the occasion, Distinguished Senator Sadiq Umar, Senator Kwara North. Chief host, Pharmacist Professor Cyril Lucifer, FPSN, President Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Host, Pharmacist Adejuwon Telaja, Chairman Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Kwara State. Keynote address to be delivered by Pharmacist Olumide Akintayo, Past President of PSN. Father of the Day, Pharmacist Professor Philip Oluriola, FPSN. State Coordinator, Board of Fellows, PSN Kwara. Royal Father of the Day, Pharmacist Oba Ajibola Demola Julius, the Olusin of Ijaraisi, Chairman, Mount Olive Group. Mother of the Day, Pharmacist Professor Stella Osifo, Professor Clinical Pharmacy and Pharmacy Practice, University of Benin. Special Guest of Honor, Senior Special Apostle Oluwole Awotuyi, Chairman to You Pharmaceutical Industries Limited. Announcer, Pharmacist Dr. Grace Fumilayo Medubi, FPSN, Chairperson, Pharmacy Week Planning Committee.
A Square Memorial School. Ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe kókó.
A-Square Memorial Schools. Tètè wá gba fọ́ọ̀mù fọ́mọ rẹ. Ìgbaniwọlé ń lọ ń bẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Sípele crèche, nursery, primary, junior secondary àti senior secondary. Tá a bá ti rọ́gbà iléèwé tó kalẹ̀ sáyìíká tó mọ́ tónítóní. Táwọn yàrá ìkẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó jingiri lálẹ́ òun bẹ̀. Àtàwọn ohun èlò ìkẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìgbàlódé tí mẹ́kọ̀ọ́ òwe wọrí ọmọ. Àga àti tébù tó standard. Tó ní library, science lab àti computer lab tó dúró rekete. Láyè tí akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ti lè ṣeré ìdárayá ń bẹ lọ́tọ̀. Iná ọba, omi àtètò ìlera tó péye ń bẹ lárọ̀ọ́wọ́tó. Lábẹ́ ààbò tó gbópọn. Tójúlówó olùkọ́ tó rí àmójútó tó péye tí wọ́n ń bẹ nírú ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ọ̀hún. Ilé ẹ̀kọ́ tíjọba jàn ló ń tẹ̀. Tówó iléèwé ò sì gúnni lápá. Ìgbaniwọlé ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Sílé ẹ̀kọ́ A-Square Memorial Schools tó wà ládùúgbò New Era View Street 5. Tá a bá ti yà ní the Wise Road tó ṣe bí ẹni dojúkọ New Government Estate Asadam Road Ìlọrin ìpínlẹ̀ Kwara. Kò síbi tẹ́ ẹ wà nílọrin tẹ́ ẹ lè fọmọ ọbẹ̀ nítorí pé wọ́n ní school bus tó ń káwọn ọmọ láti bí kíbi. Ẹ mọ́mọ yín rebẹ̀ lónìí àbí kẹ́ ẹ pè sórí ẹ̀rọ 08133780147 àti 09078303092. A-Square Memorial Schools. Ọjọ́ ọ̀la àwọn ọmọ yín ló jẹ wá lógún.
And welcome back. 24 minutes approaching to our 10 o'clock. This is Diamond 88.7 FM, the Diamond Breakfast Show. Thank you for joining us this morning. Well, we kicked off the show at exactly a couple of minutes past the hour 9 a.m. And we're still discussing some of the biggest stories. The first story had to do with the CBN's borrowing under the leadership. Well, we don't know if it's legal, but it shouldn't have been done at that point in time. Over 200 million Nigerians will have to find a way to pay that particular situation up. Again, let's move on. My guest in the studio remains Sukomi Toby John, a public affairs analyst. Sukomi, it's good to have you join me once again. Let's move on to the next one, and this one's from the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, which has filed a lawsuit against the Senate President, Mr. Godswill Akpabio, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Tajuddin Abbas, over, here's the quote, the unlawful plan to spend 40 billion naira on 465 exotic and bulletproof cars for members and principal officials and 70 billion naira as palliatives for new members. The suit is coming on the heels of the statement by Mr. Akpabio that the clerk of the National Assembly had sent in, quote here, holiday allowances into the various bank accounts of senators. Some 137 million Nigerians face extreme poverty in what the NBS report says is a multi-dimensional poverty situation. Well, Sukuma, let's talk about this. This is SERAP again. It's nothing new to see SERAP in the news say, well, we're taking you to court. There are many, at this point in time, we begin to wonder about, what's the point? Because we've had a couple of successful judgments, that's cases that SERAP seems to have won. One of them was the recent one that for the federal government to account for the 5 billion naira bacha loot, which it won. The implementation seems to be something else. It calls into question the issue of the judiciary, but then at least some would say we have an organization that has consistently stood in for Nigerians. But what's the point if you're not getting implementations or judgments?
Well, I think we should keep commenting SERAP for putting pressure on the holding the leg of the foot of the government, to fire. You get me? Even though if let's say more like previous pronouncements or previous judgments were not obeyed, but at least the burden of disobedience will be on the government. You understand what I'm saying? So we must commend Serap and implore them not to relent. You understand what I'm saying? In their quest. You understand what I'm saying? So now going down to the main issue of spending about 110 a billion on what's it called on the legislatures. Exactly.
Yes.
The loan. You get me right? So well, I think it's time. The Senate needs to look inward. You understand what I'm saying? And we have to start from the leadership. To be honest with you, it's quite insensitive for you to budget about 40 billion. You understand what I'm saying? For just the purchase of cars alone, exotic cars. Then 70 for those who, for other house members, for them to share it among themselves. That's insensitive at the time when Nigerians, are breathing. You understand what I'm saying? Breathing under, a desolate circumstance. So, it speaks to, what we say about most of our leaders, and it speaks to ourselves as Nigerians. We are very, very selfish, and we hardly look at others.
Well, we have, the president's statement, when we have new system of government, a new arm of government come up, or a new crop of government policymakers come up, we have different codes, We have the code, let the poor breathe. We have that being reiterated by the House.
Talking about the prayers,
too. And then we have the prayers. I want us to talk about, so let's move on to talk about the prayers. They're called prayers right now, for those of you who don't know. So I might be asking Sukomi for some prayers later on in the day. Like, Sukomi, I need some serious prayers, So we, it's amazing what you can do with
Just
language.
Check your email.
Just check my email. No, I do not want email. Don't play with me that way. All right. So on the one hand, we have that talking point. Now, we later got to find out that the holiday allowances might be around like 2 million naira for the holiday allowances. And then there are those who justify this, say, in cases like this, you have the critics and the supporters. Yes. The critics have said, no, not at this point in time. You have shifted the honors, the burden on Nigerians, while you have refused to take, on your own share of it. And there are those who say, well, it's just 2 million naira. Come on, these are guys who had to push back their holidays for the ministerial screening. One particular lawmaker said, well, they work literally, the earliest they've left work is like 7 p.m. at night. That's not my word. I know someone's cursing me somewhere. Let's play you that original clip of a former member of the House of Reps for Akwa Ibom while on a television program with Dr. Ruben Abati, as goes by the name Esema Iyabo, had this to say. You listen to what he had to say.
Who are wanting the Senate to be taken to the cleaners or National Assembly, as a matter of fact, there are those persons with a fertile mind, a fertile mind of mischief. Because let's discuss this and let's be serious about it. Now, these gentlemen were inaugurated on the 13th of June, 13th of July, 13th of August, and going on a break, September, then returning back for getting to 3 months. They have not received any salary, they have not received any allowance, they have not received any money of any sort. Now, civil servants, by the time they want to go on holiday or they want to go on break, or sometimes you hear a government at the subnational or even at national saying that these categories of civil servants have now been paid, that these areas of this, that have been paid areas of that. Nobody's talking about it. 2 million naira to be given to a senator. For example, Olu Senatorial District has 13 local government. Eket Senatorial District, where I come from, 12 local government. For you to give a senator 2 million naira, that is not his salary, that is not anything, that is a token, as a matter of fact. To now take to go for a holiday in a 12 local government or a 13 local government, as the case may be. Ruben, you and I will agree that 2 million naira under this hunger and anger will not be able to sustain engagement with your constituents. You agree with me, no doubt about that. So there is no big deal in this issue of 2 million. It's only that the time is a time where majority of our population is going through hunger and anger. And so the issue of rationalization of the entitlement of these people, will you say if it is 2 million naira, assuming that it is a salary, without granted that without conceding, Are you saying that for the 4 months, it's going to be 500,000 naira allowances, salary, and everything? You know?
Well, you have that link this week. That was Eseme Iyabo with Dr. Ruben, former member of the House of Reps from Akwa Ibom State. You heard it word for word.
And an APC member.
Okay.
So it is expected, you understand what I'm saying? But I think he spoke to the reality of most of our legislature. Because when you look at this legislators, rather, when you look at them, they go back to their constituency.
And
You understand what I'm saying? And their responsibilities.
give away.
But you see, the problem we are having is the way they are making it seem. Like I'm talking about the optics. That is what is terrible. But if you are to look at the detail, you understand what I'm saying? Look at the situation for what it is. We all know that most of these legislators are, are elevated to the position of a breadwinner in their constituency. We know there are a lot of responsibilities. You understand what I'm saying? But we are talking about it at the time when the government is telling Nigerians, you understand what I'm saying, to endure, to sacrifice. So what would be the cost of their own sacrifice?
Well, let's get some more takes on that one. I think that one's pretty straightforward. 09136556952. We're discussing Serap's taken the Senate to court and over, monies used to buy cars and, to be spent. And of course, the Senate has been in the news most recently for prayers being sent. We've learned that that's 2 million naira. But you had the explanation given by one of them. Some people are divided over this one. They said the reality on ground is that we know Lagbaja gives birth in the village. Like, my honorable, I just said I should greet you. Omoyi, your child has given birth. And honorable has like 2 million children out there that he has to take care of. Oh, Omoyi in law school. And where in God's name do you think you're going to get this monies from? And so some people say, well, we deserve the leaders that we get. Others say, well, no, don't take a look at that. We all have responsibilities. Do you know how many people call me per day? Nobody gives me an allowance such as that in the bed. Okay, again, WhatsApp is 0913 6556 864. Again, that is 0913 6556 864. That's the WhatsApp number. You can call 0913 6556 952. Again, that is 0913 6556 952. We have the Facebook platform which is available. This one from Abdul Wahid Lawal says, good morning to you in the house. I salute our guest in which you opine that the head which we Nigerians are expecting to roll will never roll. To my best of knowledge, not every authority the CBN governor receives from Mr. President. CBN is given independent power for smooth running of their affairs. But if we see an unpatriotic person in the office of CBN governor, then we will see the bad side of the opportunity. Even if the president was given the suspended CBN governor orders to wrong things, he has his right to resign. Now, who is facing the music now? Many times the suspended CBN governor will just think about one and then go straight to the then president without taking the due process simply because he has access to the president. Anyone that watches the screen of Mr. Abdul Wahab Adil Labu in Senate, where he pointed out the disadvantage of only CBN governors seeing the president without order from deputy governors, will know that there are many things to correct. That's a lengthy one. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, your life. What is your name and where you're calling us from?
Good morning. My name is Taiwo. I'm calling from Taiwo.
Taiwo from Taiwo. It's good to have you this morning. Please go on.
Yeah, thank you. I don't believe that it was million naira that the senator shares just for enjoyment allowance. I don't believe it. If they have any proof to prove it that they share just 2 million naira, they should show us the alert.
You think it's lesser than that?
It's more than that. It's more than that. They won't share 2 million. And they should tell us how much they share as wardrobe allowance. They should let Nigerians know. They have other allowances that they are collecting there. Yes, of which some of us didn't know. They won't tell us the entire amount they are collecting. They won't tell us. The same thing applicable to the executive. Let the Mr. President come and tell us how much he received as a security post every blessed month. They won't tell us. They should pity us. People are going through a lot of hardship. And they are just spending this money. A budget every blessed year, which has never had any good impact on Nigerians. God bless them. Thank you.
Well, God bless you too. Another frustration being expressed right there. Well, Sukomi, we still have messages coming in. I'll take those in a bit when we wrap up. But lastly, let's quickly touch on this one. Our stories are a bit intertwined this morning, if you've been taking a note. Because, of course, we only deal with the trending stories, the biggest stories in the polity. Well, Pastor Tunde Bakari, serving overseer of the Citadel Global Community Church, formerly Latter Rain Assembly, Pastor Tunde Bakari on Sunday came hard on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over a couple of things. He came hard over the fuel subsidy removal, describing it as a bit impulsive. The summary of what he had to say was that, the president put the cart before the horse and that he should never, ever have done that at this particular point in time. Well, again, Sukomi, let's have a listen. We'll have a listen to a couple of clips, but first and foremost, I want to get your take on this. He said, well, he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done what he did, putting the cart before the horse.
Well, I think Pastor Bakari is not out of sorts. You understand what I'm saying? Aside the baleful way he, expressed himself, I think he has stated what virtually every Nigerians, you understand, have been, complaining about. The way at which the government went about the removal of subsidy. Yes, we all know that we've come to the agreement that subsidy must go. You understand what I'm saying? We all have come to that agreement. But the way and manner at which it was removed, okay, let's even assume it was removed in such manner. How about a defined plan as to, ways or means to cushion the impact on the citizen? After that, the government went further to float the naira, or some call it control floating, or I call it floating. You understand what I'm saying? That is to liberalize the naira. So, not whatever lead impact the removal of fuel subsidy possibly may have been had on the people before that before the flotation of the naira. The flotation of the naira would possibly have doubled the effect or the impact on the people. So the government ought to have moved in with its laid down plan, which ought to have been developed, even the pronouncement, you get what I'm saying, to cushion the effect, you understand, of the reality on the people. It's quite obvious that things cannot be the same. You understand what I'm saying? But there are ways to go about it to make the people settle into the reality without having to go to the bonds like we're having it right now. So Pastor has spoken the minds of Nigerians. You understand what I'm saying? So, and I would just suggest the president should look beyond, the messenger and focus on the message. Because Pastor went a little bit too hard. You understand what I'm saying? At some point, it was as though he went for the jugular of the president. Right. And we all know that he contested the primary election against the president, but failed. True. You understand what I'm saying? So it could actually, let me say, like those who are in support of the president are pointing to the fact that he has expected the president to carry him along in some ways and felt left behind by the president. That is why he's using the pulpit. You understand what I'm saying? To launch a verbal attack or a diatribe on the president. So, but in all, I don't think he has said anything out of sort. He's spot on, and I think the president should listen to him and look for ways to help Nigerians to balance into this situation. We know we can no longer revert to the way things used to be done. But as we speak, there are ways to go about it to help the people to settle into the reality. Yes, the people will come to accept it that okay, this is the normal way. This is the current. This is the obtainable reality at the time. But going forward, you understand what I'm saying? But in the interim, at least there should be ways to cushion the effect of the impact of these two fundamental policies. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, let's quickly have a listen to that clip and what he had to say about the issue of fighting corruption.
The reporter claims by the DSS that his actions were in line with an order from above. The handling of the Emefiele case has sent a signal to the world that the current president's disposition to the war against corruption is primarily motivated by a clampdown on perceived political adversaries, while various other enemies of Nigeria remain untouched. The same can be said of the detention of the suspended chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Abdurrashid Bawa. Today, Bawa is being held in detention by the DSS, while Bello Matawale, a former governor that Bawa had been investigating, has been nominated by the president as a minister. Once again, if Bawa is indicted in any criminal investigation, then the lawful thing to do is to prosecute him. To continue to hold him in detention in these circumstances raises significant concerns about the readiness of the Tinubu administration to fight corruption.
Well, there you have that particular statement about he speaks about a certain selectiveness when it comes to fighting this issue and more like a personal vendetta being settled. That's talking about this issue. It's a very lengthy speech, but it seems to, the summary of it is that, look, instead of some of these policies, you can solve half of these issues by just going after the corrupt elements, those who have been alleged, who have brought us thus far to this case.
Well, there's no signal to the fact that the president is apathetic about not prosecuting those found, corrupt. Even one of those the pastor is defending with his pulpit right now is indicted, even though we're yet to see his indictment sheet. But yes, the government is holding him for the fact that he has refused to speak to the authorities. You understand what I'm saying? To tell his own side of the story. You get me, right? So it's a two-way thing, which I think the pastor, or let me say the renowned pastor, addressed one-sidedly. You understand what I'm talking about? And also pulling the name of Matawale, a minister designate, into the cycles. I don't think what's his name? Matawale should let it go down. You understand what I'm saying?
We'll see. That's why we play safe and we play directly from the sources.
The pulpit is not immune. You understand? There's no immunity on the pulpit.
Well, we just had a man of God who got charged for having possessing arms in church for whatever.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Matawale
should not, just let this allegation slide, except until proven guilty. By in the court. You understand what I'm saying? We can't say that Matawale is actually guilty of
but isn't the same thing true of the EFCC boss and Emefiele, who we're talking about, has been proven guilty?
No, yes, like I said, Emefiele, both Emefiele and Matawale, they are still innocent. You understand what I'm saying? But they have to think they are Gilbert who should be singing. Will Lance Bauer has refused to speak. You understand what I'm saying? And I think it's up to a month now that he has been in detention. Rather. I'm sorry. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So, but what I'm saying is we shouldn't use, the pulpit to call out people. You understand what I'm talking about? To call out people, it's totally wrong.
All right.
It shouldn't be.
Well, let's get some takes right now. Lastly on the show, we just have 2 minutes or so to do that. Let's get some takes this morning on the Diamond Breakfast Show. We've had to discuss 3 different issues from the CBN over borrowings, moving on to other matters as well. We just spoke about renowned overseer of the Citadel Global Community Church, who had a couple of interesting things to say. Again, let's take a look at this one. This one's, oh my God. And that's how you write it. That's not me being overtly dramatic. Our governments are too serious with no... Okay, I don't understand this. With no sense of humor, honestly. Okay, I don't know what exactly that means. But let's pick up this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. What is your name and where you're calling us from?
Dr. Zio from Panacea Academy.
Dr. Zio, please go on quickly, please.
Yeah, if we cannot say we shouldn't use pulpits to call out on the people. It has always been like that in this country, and the same man that is calling out is a political pastor. What do you expect? So we have a lot of men like that. So we also have political imams, everything is politicized, from human beings to everything in Nigeria. What are we not talking about? So let him talk. He's saying his mind. And then anybody who now feels that, let me tell you, anybody that is being accused, you should also not let it down. Try to really prove yourself, because anybody accused in this country has one thing to the other, and we need to check.
Dr. Zio, thank you very much. This one here says, the law is made for the poor and not for the rich. It's obvious. The police, the road safety, the VIO, and the rest feed on the poor. Well, that's a serious allegation. Someone's going to, press charges against you. EFCC and the rest are mostly after the young Yahoo boy system, forced to become Yahoo and the politicians will always have their way. Don't be surprised next election, Emefiele might be on the ballot. Okay, well, 3 years is a long time at this point in time. This one here says, good morning, FTO. We're always quick to criticize politicians. They are not from heaven. We ourselves never wish to join them. The educated elite always say we should leave politics for politicians. Why are they complaining? What stops ASU from working with Sarah? Please, if you know how to do it best, join them and make a difference, especially our doctors. Isa Mohammed. in Ilorin right here. And this one here says, good morning, Diamond FM. The removal of fuel subsidy would have been a gradual process, and the manner it was removed without due consultation. Mr. Ben from Italekba. All right, can't take any more right now. We have to go. We have to go. All right, my guest in the studio has been Mr. Sukomi Toby John, Public Affairs Analyst. Sukomi, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
It's my pleasure, and I'll be waiting to receive my prayers.
Your prayers? Okay, all right. We shall do that. You shall do that. Go and be blessed. All right. My name is Babatunde Okunlola. Friends, call me FTO. Thank you for joining us. It is a Monday. We do this Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays between 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is the Diamond FM you've been hearing a whole lot about. Up next is Ebawa Dasi with Olanrewaju Okwaibiti. Do have a great morning ahead of you. Bye for now.
In the finest city of Ilori lies a secret.
Diamonds 88.7 FM.
Radio like no other.
88.7 FM.
Diamond.